Vermonters rally on the anniversary of that Capitol riot.
Community members have planned protests all across the greater Burlington area. Our Sophia Thomas joins us live in South Burlington now to tell us where to find them. Sophia?
John and Alyssa, if you're driving around Chittenden County today, you'll likely hear people making their voices heard. Members of Champlain Valley Indivisible will gather at 2 locations. From noon to 1, they'll line Shelburne Road with signs they say encourage people to stand up for democracy. And later, from 2 to 3, more members will display giant banners on the Patchen Road overpass above Interstate 89. And those demonstrations are part of a nationwide movement led by the Indivisible group, and there will be showings across the country today commemorating January 6th, 2021.